Hey listeners, it's Paul Andriola here. Why not join our community at Small Cap Discoveries, where we offer our members direct access to some of the best microcap investment opportunities available. Our members are getting access to premium microcap financings, research reports, and direct access to management. Sign up today at www.smallcapdiscoveries.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Small Cap Discoveries conference call. Today on our call, we have back the CEO, Ali Tajskandar from Wishpond to give us an update. Wishpond trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol WISH, and it also trades on the OTC under WPNDF. Company is currently trading at 70 cents with about 54 million shares outstanding, or about a $38 million market cap. I'd now like to hand it over to Paul Andriola.
Hey, thanks, Trevor. Ali, we were just joking about this. We saw you exactly a year ago.
Right.
So happy to have you on. Lots has happened since the last time we spoke, including the recent record quarter. So we're glad to have you back and glad to sort of talk to you and get a full update. But before we sort of jump into any sort of update, just remind everybody what Wishpond is all about.
Sure. So what Wishpond is, the whole thesis of Wishpond is helping businesses of all sizes, especially small businesses, with the ability to market themselves effectively online and be able to acquire customers. So basically, it's about online sales growth and online marketing. And the idea is that, if you talk to a large company, they have a dedicated marketing team with a chief marketing officer, and they have someone who's specialized, or a team specialized in content writing and copywriting. They have people specialized in advertising. They have their own developers. They buy multiple software subscriptions and integrate them together. They have the budget to acquire to hire marketing agencies and pay them a lot of money for ads and all that. But when you think about your average typical small business owner, they're busy running their own business, and marketing is not their core area of expertise. They can't sign up and use 7 different software subscriptions for marketing that each of them do a small part of it and integrate them together. And because of that, oftentimes small businesses are not very successful in online marketing. And that's what Wishpond is set up to help them with having an all-in-one platform that has all the different pieces that they need to succeed in one platform. Make it cost effective and help them with the onboarding so that they would be set up the right way. So let me just quickly share this screen just to put it in context. So when you think about online marketing and you're talking to even the small businesses, a lot of times when you ask, what have you done? They might say something along the lines of, oh, right now I'm not doing anything, it's mostly word of mouth. Or, a few months ago, someone told me what I need to do is SEO. And I hired an SEO agency. They did some things that didn't really move the needle. I canceled that. And someone told me it's all about, social media. So I started posting more on social media, but that didn't really work. And someone said it's all about ads. So I did some Google ads and that didn't work. So what they do is a lot of individual tactics and shooting in all different directions, hoping for a silver bullet. And really in marketing, like most, complex things in life, there's no silver bullet. There are only 1,000 lead bullets. And large businesses understand this. They understand that you need to have a system that feeds itself and it's cohesive and it works together. So with Wishpond, we say we'll give you the same level of maturity that large companies have that you're competing against. So for you to grow, you need to be able to attract new leads. And we give you all the technology that you need for building your website, running marketing campaigns, contest promotions, setting up pop-ups, forms, to be able to attract leads. Once you attracted leads, also some with our AI-powered ad platform, then you want to nurture them, because people, just because they signed up on a form on your website, they're not necessarily ready to become your customers. So you need to be able to have multiple touch points with them. We have email marketing tools, SMS marketing tools, and so forth to warm them up and turn them into customers. And then you want to use the power of word of mouth, and that's another part of our platform, referral marketing, to get those people who are happy with you to refer and bring other people using using your business. So imagine, for example, if you're a gym You could say, well, refer and get someone else to sign up for the membership. And when they do that, you get 1 month free and they get 1 month free as well, exactly the way Dropbox grew. So Wishpond gives them all of these tools in one platform, fully integrated. And as part of the onboarding, we also do the heavy lifting. We use our designers and copywriters and specialists to set everything up, even rebuild their website using Wishpond, so that they would be set up for success. When we hand it off to them, they have everything they need to be successful, as opposed to here's a software platform, go figure it out yourself. That was way longer introduction on Wishpond and what we do than you probably were hoping for.
But we covered it well. We covered it well. Excellent. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the things that have sort of happened in the last little while. As I touched on earlier, record quarter this last quarter, revenue growth, and it looks like positive adjusted EBITDA. What's happening? What's causing sort of this continued growth in business?
So, I mean, we're having strong demand for our products and services. We also generate demand. We're good at marketing and sales. I mean, that's what we sell. And so we apply the same thing for ourselves. Our account executive, our salespeople are always busy providing demos of the platform. We keep their calendars very busy. But it's also a product that is resonating with small businesses quite a bit. They do say, yeah, I don't want to, spend so much time managing my marketing. I do need a system. This makes sense, and you guys do the heavy lifting. And because of that, we're getting that continued success. And the other part of it is that you have to remember there are, we serve more than 4,000 businesses right now, and there are millions of small businesses in the world, right? There's millions just e-commerce, let alone other service providers or B2B businesses. And we have the right solution for them. This is a segment of the market that might not be attractive to a lot of our competitors. We have the right solution for them. And we have a profitable way of onboarding them into Wishpond. It costs us $1 to win $3.50 of sales, right? So we can actually do this quite effectively. Now, let's zoom back a little bit. I think to give a little bit of context for people, a refresher, if some people have followed us, we went public a little bit more than 2 years ago, December. So, 2 years and 2 months, let's say. And in this short period, we've gone from $7.9 million of revenue to now close to 25 million revenue run rate, right? So 2.5, 3 times larger in terms of revenue in this time period. We made 5 acquisitions this time period. A lot of what I was showing you in terms of the product suite, some of them we didn't have. We acquired them, we've integrated them to the platform. We're offering it as a bundle package to our clients. When we went public, we had 1,700 customers. Now we have more than 4,000 customers. And we were profitable when we went public. But as we raised money and invested in growth and all of those things, we went into a little bit of negative cash flow for some time. And now we've regained that. We regained the cash flow positive status. And the company is in a very good place where, 2.5 million or so cash. Our cash is not going down. Even the most recent earnouts that we have been paying, we've been paying in cash so that we don't dilute our stock. We have a $6 million line of credit from National Bank of Canada that is fully undrawn. We don't have any debt. We don't have to go to the market to raise any money to continue our growth. We're growing at about 30 to 40% organically yearly. And that is something that is we're on track to continue seeing for next while.
Now, refresh our memory in terms of your business model. Like when you get paid, can we view it as repeat business? Is it recurring revenue? Is it how should an investor look at the revenues that you're generating?
Almost all of our revenue is recurring, or more than 90% is recurring MRR business. And all the 5 companies that we acquired, we made sure also their revenue is MRR, recurring revenue as well. It's very important for us. The business model basically is that, let's say that case that I talked about, let's say a gym owner who comes to us, if we want to use that example, they get their website can run on Wishpond, and Wishpond has one of the best website builders, very easy drag and drop. platform, so their website can run on Wishpond. If someone wants to book an appointment with one of their personal trainers, just like Calendly, we have our own calendar booking platform as well. Anyone wants to fill a contact us form, that would be Wishpond also. They want to send emails to their members or subscribers, Wishpond email marketing would go out to it. Let's say someone is buying a membership and in the middle of it, they're about to abandon, then Wishpond text message marketing will send a message to say, hey, come back to complete that. Then the referral marketing we talked about, all of that would be part of it. So now when they're signing up to Wishpond, we charge, going back to the business model question, we charge $1,000 upfront to set everything up for them, the initial heavy lifting. And then after that, it's only $300 a month to continue with the platform. And generally, we sign them up on annual terms that renew for successive terms.
Mm. Now, earlier you had mentioned M&A, that you've done a number of deals in the past. Are you still looking for opportunities? And if so, what does the pipeline look like right now?
Yeah, so we are looking for M&A opportunities, not as much as we were, I would say, a year ago, just given the market conditions. Our own stock price is hugely discounted right now. I think we're trading at 1.5 times multiple of this year's forecasted revenue, versus some comparables that are above four times. So because of that, we want to make sure any acquisition that we have would be accretive. So they would have to be even lower than 1.5, and that's tougher. And at the same time, we don't want to acquire problem cases, or the ones that are losing a lot of money. All 5 acquisitions we've made, recurring revenue, we didn't overpay, and all of them profitable. So we don't want to break that trend. So a year ago, for example, we looked at 350 to 400 different opportunities as part of the M&A pipeline to make the first 4 acquisitions. Now we're not really active outbound like before. We might end up becoming active again later this year, but it's been more of inbound interest that's coming to us, and there's good amount of it coming. Some including the ones that we talked to earlier, and we're going to be opportunistic about it.
Let's start talking about some of the sort of industry trends or maybe economic trends. I would think that you guys, you're seeing a lot of small businesses as clients, and you're seeing their spend, right? Now, if the economy is slowing down, what does that mean? Are they going to spend a little bit more money to try to sort of increase their revenue, or do you expect that they're going to slow down some of their spending, or maybe they're looking for innovative ways of spending the same amount of money? What can you tell us about what you're kind of seeing right now?
So good question. We haven't seen slowdown in demand for our products, and we haven't also seen a decline in retention. So those are not trends that we've seen. If anything, we're having record demand for our products. We have a lot of cases where our salespeople basically are booked 2 weeks in advance, and then we have to tweak that to make sure that doesn't happen, because that itself also creates issues. So that's not what we're seeing, and perhaps part of it is that people are looking for more cost-effective ways of keeping their business afloat and doing better, right? $1,000 upfront and $300 a month versus paying $4,000 or $5,000 to an agency, and then a few $1,000s on ad budget, or all of those things, or having your own dedicated marketing person. It's a very good deal. Even when sometimes we include service components, it wouldn't be that expensive compared to what they would have to do elsewhere. Businesses still need to continue maintaining themselves or growing, and at the end of the day, they need the systems that we have. And is one of the most cost effective and most integrated. They don't need multiple solutions for that. So that's what we're seeing. The other thing I think in terms of trends that is very key is AI. And I think that's one that I'm personally very, very excited about, right? So especially if you think about a small business owner, let's say just the case of building your website, right? Typically would cost you 3, 4, 5,000, depending on the complexity of the website, and months of back and forth, and all of that before you get it. And let's say you want to launch a new product line, like, oh man, do I have to go through that process again? Or now I have to find my dev guy. Now imagine with AI, you go into our platform. This is something we're working on. I'm very excited to really, to announce the release of it in a few weeks, actually. Let's say you go into the platform, you pick one of the website templates, and ask you, what type of business is this? What's the name? A couple of questions, and you press generate. It generates the whole website with AI, all images, all text, everything. And you might still want to make changes to it. You might want to still say, okay, what AI generated is like 80% of the way there, or 90% of the way there. I still need to make changes, but now we're talking about like within the next half an hour, you have something that is going to be amazing and you can launch it, right? So that's also one of the trends that now you can do things quite competitively. And that's a trend that I think is going to be very important. Or another example of it that I would say is that, we have our outbound sales automation platform for sending sales emails and cold outreach. Well, a lot of times the challenge is, how do you generate the copy that gets people to respond? Now we're actually working on AI to generate the content for you. But not only that, when people start replying to you, it takes a lot of time to figure out how to respond to these people and all of that. One of the things that we're working on is use of AI, so that you go into your Gmail or Outlook and you say, draft the email response for me. It has already learned from your previous 1,000 conversations, and it actually puts a draft in there, like, okay, 9 out of 10 times is good enough, press send, done. So those are the things that I'm also very excited about, and I think it's going to be part of the trend going forward.
So clearly you're one of these companies that is embracing this ChatGPT type of product, as opposed to somebody who's worried about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the conversations that sometimes we have with our Chief Operating Officer, Jordan, is we admire the way Apple operates, that they put iPod out, and as soon as they put iPod out, they start working on the product that will make iPod useless. Right. And I think that's the only way to deal with this, as opposed to, head in the sand saying, oh yeah, but it can never compete with this and that. No. This is real. Embrace it. Embrace it and keep up with it. Otherwise, you're going to lose your relevance.
Yeah, exactly. I want to remind everybody that's listening, if you've got a question, and we've got a couple here, but if you've got a question that you'd like me to ask Ali, please use the chat function and we'll ask the question. So we talked about trends. We talked about sort of what's happened within the business. What have we missed? What else? What are you looking forward to in say 2023? That might be a little bit different than something we've spoken about already.
I think we've talked about a lot of those elements. I think AI is going to be a big focus for ours, and I think you're going to see a consistent drumbeat of AI-related features and releases with Wishpond over the next few months. I think the other element that is going to be important is just continued organic growth, that 30-40%. We plan to continue, growing while remaining profitable, and keeping our cash reserve solid. I think over later this year, we'll probably become more active on the M&A side as well. So there's two paths we can go there. With increased cash flow, either at some point we become more active on the M&A side, or we become more active on the share buyback side. If our own share prices are too low, not allowing us to have good accretive acquisitions, then the best acquisition opportunities are our own shares, and we'll then become more aggressive there.
Yeah. Okay, on that note, we do have a question here. It says the company hasn't bought back their own shares since October 2022. Is share buyback program still in place?
Yeah, so share buyback programs are generally approved by the exchange for 1-year terms. So we have that. given where the market conditions were, we were being a little bit more cautious and saying, let's just keep all the cash as much as we can. But as I just said, it is something that as our cash position starts becoming stronger, becomes more important for us to take seriously. Right now, mostly we're saying, well, still investing in our growth and, whether it's sales or product development and all of that would be better use of the funds. So right now we don't have a plan to become very aggressive on that. Sometimes we might buy back a little bit and we'll let the market, deal with it, but it might change in the coming months.
Now, I don't remember the balance sheet, but I've got a question here that says current assets are below current liabilities on the balance sheet as of Q3. Does the company have enough cash to manage OPEX and manage working capital?
Yeah, for sure. So we are cash flow positive. The assets and liabilities, I have to look at what the details are. A lot of it is, for example, prepaid revenue or those kind of things. Yeah, but we definitely our cash position is not going down quarter after quarter, even though we're actually paying for earnouts now through cash as well. We're not issuing new shares, even though we have the option. You can choose between the two. We haven't raised money in a long while, and we don't have any plans to, and don't see the need for it. Again, also remember 2.5 million cash that we have that is steady, plus the 6 million line of credit that we haven't touched from National Bank of Canada. I think the terms are very favorable as well, but we think we can grow aggressively and responsibly. We don't see really a contradiction between those two.
Perfect. And then you touched on this a little bit a little while ago here, but the question is, can you tell us what's changing in the private/public market for multiples on revenue? You talked about you're trading around 1.5 times revenue, but are you seeing a difference between what's trading in the public market and what's trading in the private market?
To some extent. To some extent, but even in the private market, for example, there was a deal that came to our desk that a year and a half ago, if I'm not mistaken, we talked to them and their expectation was $2.5 million. And it came back to us a couple of months ago, same revenue, but this time they expected $700,000 or $800,000. And they were saying, just cash is the most important thing for us. We want to move on to other things. Unfortunately, we didn't end up being able to close that, but that's a different thing. So we do see that even in the private market, some of the valuations are coming down. Definitely, VCs are becoming a lot stricter with their criteria. Their fundraisings are changing. But I think the challenge here, though, is that a lot of times, a lot of the companies that might be more willing to sell at very low valuations might be the companies that are losing a ton of cash and have a lot of liabilities and all that. And that's not the kind of business we generally acquire. We generally acquire companies that are profitable and we can grow faster together. They might be stagnant, but we can make them grow fast, but not losing money. And those companies, their valuations might not come down that much because the founder says, I expected to get this much. Doesn't matter if the market is bad, I'll just wait longer.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so any plans to get listed on, NASDAQ, but I guess any U.S. exchange? Do you have any plans of moving off the venture exchange right now? And part of the question also says, 65% of your revenue comes from the U.S. So I would almost think that at some point you're looking at a U.S. listing, but any plans for that relatively soon?
Yeah. So on the TSX main board, we have the plan. I can't share the specific timeline for it, but it's not going to be long term. It would be relatively on a short term basis. On NASDAQ for sure as well. I think we see two things. One is that as we grow and become larger, NASDAQ is a market that generally would value our type of business better, and the US market understands SaaS and technology and marketing space better, unfortunately, than the Canadian market, and rewards them on the valuations better. And as such, it will make sense for us to list in NASDAQ at some point. But we get differing opinions on this. I believe we're too small still to list on NASDAQ at 25 million revenue.
Mhm.
So I think we would want to be larger before we do that. And, generally when you do that also, you would have to do a raise of 15, 20 million. And then that, around 40 million market cap, that's quite diluted. So we would want to wait a little bit longer before we do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ali, I always ask this question. I asked you last time, but what keeps you up at night? What's predominantly on your mind right now about the business?
What keeps me up at night? Well, one of the things that we've worked very heavily on has been integrating all the different companies that we've acquired into one platform, so that when you go into Wishpond, you can switch between, the sales outreach versus SMS marketing versus referral marketing with a click of a button and single sign-on. You don't have to log in multiple times. All the data comes in the same place. And now we have trained a lot of our sales executives to sell as a bundled package versus previously where they were selling them as silo solutions versus IQ separately from Wishpond and so forth. And that process initially had some challenges and was definitely keeping me up at night, because there are salespeople in the organization that are trained and used to the old way of selling and the old prices and all of that, and changing that was a bit of a challenge. And then we said, well, maybe the new account executives that we're getting, it would be easier to do that. So the new packages would be the new account executives we're adding, and that's what we did, and it's working a lot better. And we're over time transitioning some of our old salespeople to do the bundled sales and the integrated platform. So that has been definitely not without hassle, and that's one that I'm excited to see. By the way, that the retention on it is substantially better than the silo solutions, so that's great. But it requires a lot of effort in making sure that everyone embraces the change.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. So the last couple questions here. Investors like ourselves, what do you think we should pay the most attention to, or what sort of metrics, maybe catalysts or just things in general that we should be watching out for, paying attention to really understand how well you guys are doing in the sort of the coming year?
I think two things. I mean, financial performance is going to be very important to pay attention to, whether top line growth or adjusted EBITDA. In our case, adjusted EBITDA basically gets closer to cash flow statement, but you can look at cash balance also if you want something to see what was the cash balance last quarter versus this quarter and so forth. So that's on one side. The other side of it is paying attention to the product releases we're putting out. Some of the AI ones that I mentioned, they're quite important. And I think as you see some of the releases, a picture will form in terms of where we're going and the significance of it to small business market.
Mm-hmm. And then, lastly, just is there any key takeaway or key message you want to make sure everybody walks away with today?
I think the key message is that Wishpond is a company that is solving a real problem in the SMB market. That is millions of small businesses that are underserved. We have a profitable way of reaching them. We are growing aggressively, 30-40% annually, organically, plus acquisitions. And we're doing that while being cash flow positive. And we've been very careful with our use of cash and capital allocation. And I think to some extent, when I look at Wishpond, I'm like, this can be the next Shopify, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shopify came in and said, well, it's a hassle to set up an online shop. And similarly, large businesses could hire developers and go and get open source or closed source e-commerce solution and make it exactly what they want, but small businesses can't. How can we make it so any entrepreneur can launch a shop in a day or two? And such a large market, and they've done tremendously well with that. But the challenge is that even with that, you set up the shop, it doesn't mean that you build it, they come. They won't come. So that's where Wishpond comes in. There's still no solution by Wishpond that helps just about anyone solve the second problem of if you built it, will they come? And that's why I think it's a product and solution that resonates well and has the potential of becoming a major player in the market.
Fantastic. Well, great. Well, listen, we've been speaking with Ali Tajskandar, Wishpond Technologies. Symbol again is WISH or Wish on the Venture Exchange. Ali, great to catch up with you again, and looking forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you very much, Paul. Always great chatting with you.
Appreciate it. Bye for now.